want to bring up any of your other people, they're certainly welcome. Yep.
Are you doing photos? Okay.
Hang on 1 second, everybody. Thank you, guys. Oh.
I didn't get all the council. You only did I'll talk.
Thank you, guys.
Okay. And now I'm just here to give a quick little update. Green River Main Street has partnered with the Green River Development Fund and Wild Sage Market to put on a downtown street fair. It's going to be September 12th from noon to 4. And then we will have live entertainment from 4 till approximately 11:30 p.m. We've got 4 bands lined out to play. Wild Sage Market had to cancel their normal indoor market as a result of the pandemic, and then they were going to do it again in September, but were unable to, so we thought we could kind of combine forces with them and artists, since the Art on the Green was also canceled in their traditional way, so that we could all kind of come together, make a nice event for the community where it's outdoors, people can maintain their social distancing. We're going to use North First East Street, Railroad Avenue, and the grassy area by the depot, so I think that's plenty of room for people to spread out and enjoy the community. So I'm excited about that. Again, as a result of the pandemic, we're not going to be doing trunk or treat this year. We usually get about 3,000 people downtown for that event, which is much too large for us to be able to manage any kind of social distancing or anything. So instead, we've decided to do a trunk or treat parade, and that will actually be on October 31st on Halloween, since it's a Saturday. So we'll be getting to the promotion of that here shortly, and we're really excited. I think that's going to be a great event. We have begun our gift certificate program with the downtown Main Street businesses, so we've got several businesses signed up to participate. At the last farmers market, we'll be offering the deal that we can through the development fund, that if somebody comes and spends $25 on a gift certificate for a downtown business, we can add $10 to it through the development fund. So that'll be hopefully incentive for people to spend their money locally in downtown. We've got about 5 applicants right now for our advertising grant that we're offering, again through the Green River Development Fund. It's a $500 grant. We're partnering with the Radio Network and the Development Fund to each contribute $250 per grant. And there's no cost to the downtown business for that grant. They just get $500 in radio advertising. So that's been really well received, and people are just kind of, I think, waiting to turn in their applications till they need more of a boost, because we're running this from September till April. So they've got other times of year that might be more beneficial to them. We've got 2 facade grant applications that we're going to be approving at our next board. Well, I assume we'll be approving at the next board meeting. And we're working on a mural for downtown. So that's really what we're doing right now. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to take them.
Anybody have anybody have, Councilman Berg?
I have a comment, Jenny. Thank you for all you and your board have done. A lot of organizations, I think, with COVID have just canceled, and that would have been the easy way out for you guys. You guys could have canceled all the events you had planned for the next 6, 9, 12 months, and even into next year. And you did, and a lot of the stuff that you guys do, you just adapted. So it's great to see that you have such an adaptable board, and that those members come up with these ideas to be able to change how you're doing something without having to cancel something. So thank you.
Thank you.
Well said, Councilman Berg. Any other comments? So again, we all echo that, Jenny. Thanks for all you guys do.
Thank you.
Okay, next up on the agenda is citizen requests and other communications. Are there any citizens in the audience that are not on the agenda that want to speak to the council? Okay, seeing none, we're moving on. Board and committee appointments. Item A, appointment of Ian Parker to the Green River Historic Preservation Committee. I'm just going to read this. Ian has volunteered to serve on the Green River Historic Preservation Committee. He is interested in the history of Green River. I'm recommending the appointment of Ian to the Green River Historic Preservation Commission. Do we have a motion?
Mayor,
Councilman Berg.
I move to confirm the mayor's appointment of Ian Parker to the Green River Historic Preservation Commission beginning September 1st, 2020.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Berg, seconded by Councilman Murphy. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And I see Ian in the audience, so congratulations, Ian. Thank you for volunteering. Item B, reappointment of Nick Montgomery to the URA Main Street Board. Nick has volunteered to serve on the URA Main Street Board for another 5 years. I'm recommending his reappointment beginning September 1st, 2020 and expiring on August 31st, 2025. Do we have a motion?
Mayor,
Councilman Shuttrin.
I move to confirm the mayor's reappointment of Nick Montgomery to the URA Main Street Board beginning on September 1st, 2020 and expiring August 31st of 2025.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Shuttrin, seconded by Councilman Berg. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? It's unanimous. Ordinances. Consideration on third and final reading an ordinance to allow family child care centers as a conditional use permit in an R1 and R2 zone district. This proposed language amendment will add family child care center as a conditional use in the R1 and R2 zoning districts. Do we have a motion?
Mayor,
Councilman Zimmerman.
I move to approve on third and final reading the amendment to Appendix B, Zoning, Chapter 9, Use Regulations, adding family child care center, subject to the state of Wyoming requirements 1.1311 as a conditional use permit in the R1 and R2 zoning districts, single-family residential districts.
Second. Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Zimmerman and seconded by Councilman Murphy. Is there any discussion?
Mayor,
Councilman Kilpack.
on that suggested motion, do we need to have it said that it will increase the number of children from 9 to 15? It's not in the motion. Does that need to be there?
It is in the language amendment. Yeah, that's what
The center is actually.
a family child care center is defined by the numbers that are there. 11 to 15 is a family child care center. So it is in the actual, it's implied through the language there.
And the reason I brought that up is I just wanted to make sure that the public understood
Sure.
that it went from 9
Sure.
to 15.
Okay, is there anybody in the audience that has not spoken on this issue yet that would like to address the council? In other words, they weren't here for the first or second reading. Okay, so what I'm going to assume then is that inasmuch as everybody that spoke at the last meeting was in favor of this language amendment, I'm going to ask the council, what's your pleasure? You want to vote?
Yes.
We should.
Okay. Okay, are you guys okay with that, the people in the audience? Okay. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. It's unanimous. Okay, folks, the language amendment is an official part of the zoning resolution now. Okay?
Mayor?
Yes.
Could I just make one more comment?
Yeah. Go ahead, Councilman Kilpack.
Well, the only thing I wanted to make sure that what the public needs to understand is just because we've changed the ordinance, those folks that want to do this and have the numbers go up to 15, they still have to go to planning and zoning and request that special use permit, and then they have to live within the rules of the state. So I just didn't want the public to think that, well, it's open now and anybody can do it. That's not the case.
That's correct. It's a discretionary process, just as the current process from the 1 to 10 is. It's just a different number. And it's totally up to the Planning and Zoning Commission. There's no involvement in the council on this. Okay? I see everybody nodding their heads. I'm going to take a 1-minute recess in case there's anybody here just for that particular issue that would like to leave. And we appreciate everybody giving their input. It's important for citizens to get involved in their government. Okay, ordinances. Oh, pardon me. Resolutions. Item A, consideration of a resolution to fund the Flaming Gorge Corridor Study and Airport Runway Improvement.
Mayor and Council, tonight I have to come in front of you and beg you for your forgiveness, as I know you know I don't make all that many mistakes, but I did forget one in the corridor, or in the carryover last week. That was for this corridor study. We've had it on the books. Mark's been working on it for a while now. In fact, we're still working on it. The other thing was the same thing with the airport. We had put in some money set aside to help the National Guard when they come in and did that. So we carried that over. So we're funding that also a little bit more. We had a $2,600 carryover to do some little projects, so we wanted to bump that up to 10 grand. There's some little projects and some more grant money we can go after to help do that and just do some small improvements. And then we also found out when the Guard was here, they needed a little help getting some water and things up there, and that cost us a few bucks. So we just want to have about 10 grand in there to take care of some things on the runway and go after a little bit more grant money from White Hawk. So.
Okay, does anybody have any questions for Chris? Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor,
Councilwoman Mays.
I move to approve the resolution increasing the capital projects and general funds for the fiscal year carryover in the amount of $65,775.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilwoman Mays. I think Councilman Murphy was first. Seconded by Councilman Murphy. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Okay, council action items. A, consideration to authorize the submission of a grant to the Wyoming Energy Authority for a local government energy improvement grant.
Mayor and Council, Brad Rainey, Parks and Recreation Director. We're just simply seeking approval to apply for this grant. This will be our 4th year in a row trying to get this grant. We've been successful the last 3 years. We've used it to convert all of our lights to LED throughout the city. Having a hard time breathing with this thing on tonight. And we're trying to address some of our HVAC equipment with this grant. We have a air conditioning unit that serves the gym and the rec center it's about 20 years old, and it's working at half capacity, and kind of any day is not going to work anymore. So we're trying to take advantage of this grant to help with the cost of replacing it. It does provide an energy savings to put a new one in, and therefore making us eligible for this grant. So right now we're just looking for your approval to apply for it.
Okay, anybody have any questions of Brad? Go ahead, Councilman Murphy.
Yeah, have we ordered the chiller yet, or are we waiting to see if we can get the grant before we order it?
Well, this is just to apply.
Okay, so
for
we
the
haven't
grant.
ordered anything yet
It hasn't been
to
ordered.
replace anything?
It's functioning good enough, and we're heading into the winter, so we have a little bit of time.
Okay.
But so we're just trying for the grant right now.
Okay. Do we have a motion? Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor,
Councilman Berg.
I move to authorize the Parks and Recreation Department to submit a grant to the Wyoming Energy Authority for a local government energy improvement grant to replace the gymnasium chiller at the rec center.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Berg, seconded by Councilman Shuttrin. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Mayor, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman, do we have a second? Shuttrin, seconded by Councilman Mays. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. No discussion on the consent agenda. Mr. City Administrator.
Mayor, Council, first of all, would like to take a few minutes here to formally introduce and recognize Ryan Rust to the City of Green River. Can't see his face if you don't recognize him, but he's in the sharp-looking man over there in the shirt and tie. Basically, Ryan began work here on August 10th as a City Government Affairs and Grants Manager. Ryan grew up in Green River. He earned his master's in public administration from the University of Wyoming. He also was recognized as the public administration master's in public administration student in 2017-2019. He came to the city after serving as the executive director at the Young at Heart Senior Center in Rock Springs. Prior to that, he was working in the transportation department with School District Number 1. We had budgeted these positions that focus on areas of we had budgeted positions that focus in areas of marketing, communications, social media, website, legislative grants, grant compliance, and even human resources such as in safety. We took a lot of time to figure out what we were going to do there. We narrowed those positions down into 2. We created 2 strategic positions to meet the goals of the city and the council. Steve Core, we introduced in July. He's been with us for a couple of months as the communications administrator. And now Ryan coming in to do governmental affairs and grants. Ryan's job basically is going to be to plan and execute a comprehensive strategy, proactive governmental affairs campaign to advance the city's goals, city and council goals. He'll be the principal liaison between the local, county, state governments, and also with some of the other elected officials at the federal level. The intent and execution of giving Green River a broader voice at the regional and state level. Hoping to foster and build relationships with entities such as the Wyoming Business Council and SLIB, and with elected officials regionally across the state. He'll work with Steve, the communication administrator, to disseminate pertinent communications through traditional outlets that we're going to be doing with media and within our organization. He's also going to be responsible for researching new grant funding opportunities, developing those proposals, and eventually working in the compliance issue with those. We have already, you probably should have seen a lot of communication from Steve. Starting to see some from Ryan, not only to you but to the media and to the residents of Green River. We're doing a lot more of that. It's going to prove valuable for us as we move forward, not only to navigate the COVID but the downturn in the economy we're seeing at the state and at our local level. It'll help keep our focus on our goals that we set as a city for economic development, both locally and regionally. Through our business partners and agencies such as the SEDC. I think we're fortunate to be able to have these 2 positions as a city, especially in the discussions I've had with both at the county level and with other city administrators and some of the stuff that they're doing. And on top of that, having these 2 lead them, moving us forward, I think we were able to pull from 2 really good candidates out of these. We plan to have a workshop in October where both Ryan and Steve will come and present and outline the next months to the year of the goals that we're going to be working towards with better communication, internally, externally, working on transparency in what we do, building and fostering those relationships with the elected officials across the state, and then sharing the direction of the city and the council to our residents, getting Green River recognized at the county level and regional, state level, and everything that we do. Just really hoping to step up that recognition on that side, so that we are a player when we come to some of the actions and stuff that we want to take at the state level. We all of our staff, from the department heads down to seasonals and the part-time that we have, we look forward to continue working with the governing body and residents to improve Green River for years to come. So again, welcome, Ryan. We'd met Steve before, but we're thankful for being able to have those positions and look forward to working with the council on that.
Thank you.
Had the only other thing that I was going to add, we do have a recognition next council meeting for some of on the voluntary separation agreement that we had. We have 4 individuals that we'll be recognizing. Their last day was yesterday. We also will be recognizing them on 9/11 next Friday. We'll have some details come out on that, but we'll have being able to do some HR. We're going to do a little food bank drive and have some like a barbecue kind of a thing for that. So we'll have everyone invited to that. So that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Reed. Mr. City Attorney, Galen?
I have no report tonight, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Galen. Let's start with Councilman Kilpack.
I just have a couple of things. Number one, I'd like to welcome Ryan to the city of Green River. And it'll be a great asset for what you're doing. And so welcome to the city. And the other question I have, and this is more to the council, the question I have is on the planning and zoning. We have a planning and zoning commission, of course, we all know about that. But the power that the planning and zoning has is when they make a decision, there's no appeal. So whatever they decide is a decision, and it's done. And so I was wondering if we would, as a council, would like to have a workshop with planning and zoning and go over the rules and regulations of what the planning and zoning is responsible for, so that all of us would understand that power that they have. And the last planning and zoning meeting I was at, it was very evident that we have very good, very strong, and very considerate members of that committee, that commission. But if a decision is made, those that may oppose it, there's no place they can go. There's no appeals of any kind. So I was just wondering if we might want to meet as a council and just kind of review what their responsibilities are in a workshop, so that we all might understand it. And so that's just my question to the council.
Yeah, and I'd just like to weigh in on this. I think that, heck, we haven't met with the Planning and Zoning Commission for as long as I've been on the mayor or a council person that I can recall, and it's been quite a few years. And I think more broadly, we ought to be looking at the zoning law and see how it fits with today's. I was looking at housing and our zoning law and how it turns out I came up with this study that has just been concluded that 8 cities in Wyoming participated in. And ironically, Lander is meeting tonight with kind of what they've come up with. And somebody has, in fact, Steve presented me with something today which was very useful, which, I mean, I had read this and I thought it was all about being more flexible as a community and looking at your housing stock and seeing, that you had affordable housing and different size housing and things that were conducive to today's society and what we've got in the city and things of that nature. And I thought, wow, that's good. We need to move ahead with that. And then I see Lander's response by one of their citizens that their council is going to be dealing with tonight, in which somebody is saying, whoa, not so fast. You know, because as you change these regulations, you change off-street parking and you change lot sizes and you change the whole nature of the community, and we better have a discussion from the community before we advocate zoning language amendments to change the zoning law. So I think more broadly, that's what we should have. We should have a discussion with the staff and the Planning and Zoning Commission in terms of the whole zoning law and how it fits today with what our community wants to do, and we don't know the answer to that. So I think it wouldn't hurt at all after, you know, maybe every 20 years that maybe we do that. So I think that I agree with Councilman Kilpack, and I think that sometime in the future, we've got a couple of places, a couple of workshops already scheduled. We need to schedule that. So that's just my 2 cents worth.
Mayor and Council, I think also one of the things that we do that has been approved in the budget is the Unified Development Code.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be something, you know, pre and post review of that in a workshop in terms of getting that started and how it's going to look across the board would also be should be something considered. So
I think even the subject matter for the next workshop, which is nuisances, very closely parallels zoning. Some of those nuisance things are zoning issues, not nuisance police enforcement issues. So I think it's a timely workshop, so that would be good. Anything else, Councilman Kilpack?
I was just wondering if is the council in favor of doing something like that?
I would be.
Okay.
Okay, I think it was unanimous.
That's all I have. That's all I
Okay,
have.
Councilwoman Mays.
Well, first of all, welcome Ryan, and I'm glad that Steve and Ryan are on our team. I think you guys are going to do a great job. And I do appreciate all the people that wrote in votes for me on this primary election, but I am not running for council again. I told Reed and the mayor, I believe in term limits. I've been up here for 12 years, and it's time for somebody else to come in and do the job. And I definitely appreciate it. I love this community, but I think it's time to let somebody else step in. And plus, I worked for the city for 23 years, so so I have a lot of time in here, invested in here. The other thing I wanted to bring up too, I was going to work this morning, about 8:30, driving down Shoshone to cross Hitching Post, and there was this huge crash that just happened right before I got there, and a Suburban and a car. And it seems like I go to work around, 8:30, 20 to 9, and there's a school zone there. And I see people speeding through that school zone constantly. Some of them are going more than 30 miles an hour. I'm just like aghast. I don't know how fast or, what happened, Chief? Was that a head-on? Was that a T-bone, or what happened with that crash?
Yeah, that one this morning, as far as I understand, I wasn't up there, and the report isn't done yet, but it did sound like it was a failure to yield at the stop sign at that intersection is what caused the crash.
Okay, so it was a T-bone.
Yeah.
Okay, it looked pretty bad. And like I said, I go up there, I don't know why. We need to maybe have somebody park at the fire station, and I just see people cruising down Hitching Post, and they're not obeying that school zone. They are doing it on Shoshone, where Truman is.
Yeah.
But
And this is the time of year where we're doing a lot of public education via traffic stops. It's just the nature of the business. Every time when school starts, that's what we have to do. We have to patrol a lot in school zones. The most we have 4 patrol officers out in cars on any given shift, so they have to split their time between all the school zones. And the problems are different. You get on Hitching Post, you'll have a speed problem. You get in front of Harrison, then you have everybody trying to pack in there to drop their kids off problem. So there's multiple things we're trying to deal with at the beginning of school years, and it does take some time. New drivers are our biggest challenge, and that takes up a lot of time in the high school parking lot. But we will keep working on that, and I need to get with streets a little bit too and do some speed evaluations on a few streets, because we do have some signs that can collect data for us and provide that data to us so we can focus our enforcement a little bit better too.
Yeah, maybe one of those signs that says your speed is, as they're coming down the road and speed limit's 20 and it registers how fast they're going. Maybe that would be, once in a while, something like that would help.
Yeah, we normally approach that in a stepped manner. First, we collect the data, and that's done with a sign that could be turned on, but it's not. Because if you turn that on, then you're not getting true data. So it's hard to decide how to target your enforcement if you're affecting where you need your enforcement at the time you're trying to collect your data. Then we can turn that sign on that shows people their speed at that point. And then we can also focus our enforcement based on when those violations are happening, because it does track them by day of week, tracks them by hours, by number of cars passing through at any given hour. It provides a lot of information to us, and we use that on a regular basis throughout town for all kinds of enforcement.
Yeah. I just notice it a lot because that's when I go to work and I have to cross that street, and somebody that's coming down, and sometimes it is kids, and they're just, buzzing here and buzzing, and sometimes they're not paying attention. They're texting, they're doing stuff, they're on the phone, and so I hope everybody watches out, because I'd hate to see a kid get hit. I mean, that was bad enough seeing that crash today, because it was pretty bad. But thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Councilwoman Mays. Councilman Chutrin.
I'd just like to welcome Ryan and Steve both, and just appreciate both of you being here, and I look forward to working together to make Green River a great place to live.
Thank you, Councilman Chutrin. Councilman Zimmerman.
Sorry it took so long for me to say this, but I appreciate the administrator and the mayor and staff. Within the last couple of weeks, I've had the opportunity to witness other meetings amongst government bodies, and I can really say I appreciate the respect and order that's held in our meetings. And it's, just, I guess when you see something go wrong, then you realize how fortunate we are here. And we have an orderly meeting. Everybody respects other people's opinions and decisions, and I'm just very appreciative of it. And we have a great staff here. So thank you so much. It's a pleasure to work here. It really is. Thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Good comments. Thank you, Councilman Zimmerman. Councilman Murphy.
Nothing at this time.
Thank you, Tom. Councilman Berg.
I have nothing tonight.
Okay, and I'm going to do my monthly rant. This one's on again, the census. We have thousands of people, literally, that have not registered for the census. It's a 5-minute process. It's literally millions of dollars that the city is going to lose. That is money that comes from the federal government, it comes from the state government. There's no new taxes, there's no new fees that you're paying as a result of getting that money. It's money that is designed for programs based on population, and if we don't get it, somebody else is getting it. So what sense does that make? Register for it. It's not costing you anything. It's not big government. It's already there. So if you know of anybody, get them to register, because it's literally millions of dollars over the 10-year period that we're missing out on. And if you want your streets done, if you want your kid to have hunter safety courses, if you want to have lunches at the school for underprivileged people, there's all kinds of programs that are funded by that. And quite frankly, our sales tax revenue is based on population also, which is one of our main sources of revenue. And to the extent that we get those numbers up, we are in a much more advantageous position to do all of the things that we need to do, whether it's fixing the rec center, whether it's fixing the chiller at the rec center, whether it's doing lighting, all the different things that we want to do to make Green River better. A whole lot of that, most of that, is determined based on population, and the only way that that population is determined is through the census. Get out and register. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mayor,
Councilman Shuttridge.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
Okay, it's moved by Councilman Shuttridge, seconded by Councilman Kilpack. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned.